Boker Tov, Yom Tov, Zoharim Tovim, and Laila Tov. Good morning, good day, good afternoon, and good evening, no matter where you are in the world. This is Carrie, and I will be speaking to you today from the heart, about the heart. This was something that's been on my heart for quite a while now because this was one of the most confusing verses to me. Since I've always known where my heart is at and what it feels, and it was very difficult for me through this passage in Jeremiah to believe that my heart was deceitfully wicked. It just didn't register to me. So I thought we would go ahead and take some time to go over this today, and I hope it blesses you like it has me. I'm actually very excited to share this with you. So here we go. The very first word we're looking at is the word deceitful. This is the same root for Jacob's name. Now, it doesn't just mean to be deceitful. I'm going to pull this up so you can actually take a look at it here fully. And we're going to go down and we're going to track this because I don't agree with how they translated this at all. Because they didn't have the ability to see the codes, they just went through the words. They weren't able to make sense of what was truly being said. So when you track this down to the root, you can see, let's go all the way down here, to swell out or up, to seize by the heel, to circumvent, as if tripping by the heels. So again, this is the root of Jacob's name, in which they have always said that he was a supplanter. But if you remember how he was born, I believe the process in what I have looked into is that he was trying to keep his head protected from having Esau crush his head on his way out. So he did seize him by the heel to protect his head. And we've been in that position for far too long as those who have been trying to crush our heads so we wouldn't rise. So we're in good company with Jacob because remember, his name was changed to Israel. And I have recently shared a teaching on that. Those who are of the just and the right ones who had a vision that prevailed and have become the strong leaders with authority as as God. So we're in good company. So let's go back and take a look at this as it's in its written form. And notice we have the kolam meli on that. And if you are new to this teaching, a kolam meli, it does produce a different sound change, but it also means to be set apart, set above, to dream, to be pierced, to be filled up as one who has gone through the living water teachings of Mother and Father to become a teaching shepherd of light that has been given the power of the right hand, which is the power, means, and direction if you choose to go into the inward man to find the deep well that will give you the answers you need to deliver yourself. So we have been given the eyes to see just how we need to raise our flesh. And through the kuf, which, by the way, I am going to do a single teaching on because it is my favorite Hebrew letter, we have chosen to compress light in the circle of time by that which was once hidden, now revealed to us as we found the middle path between the two in the circle of time so that we could spiritually build our temple from the inside out through the power given to us, the means and a direction through the covenants of Mother and Father, the covenants of promise. So I do not agree with deceitful, and I am canceling that word out to because I just explained to you what it is. It is powerful. And like I said, I object to deceitful. Second word is heart. And heart, I did a teaching on this as well through As a Man Thinks, and we went into great detail about the heart. But simply saying this, that this is in Paleo, the Lamed represents authority. Authority inwardly, as Paleo Hebrew for bet means inward or inside. So now we have the inside authority of those who have been given the revelation of Mother's teaching that has been revealed, that have been taught by a teaching shepherd of light the ways of Mother and Father, the living water teachings that present the door to you so you can go to the inner man in order to build your spiritual temple so that you have inside authority. This is where your mind, your will, your emotions, your passions, your thoughts originate from. We have thought in the Western culture, at least the Greco-Roman mindset, that thoughts originate in the mind, in the head. But all the brain does is it interprets signals from the heart. So it is from the heart that these things happen. Then we have the word above all things. And again, we have a cholam meli on top of the kaf. So what we're seeing right here is this root means all, or I should say this word kol means all, but it's from the root kalal, which means to be perfected. That's also the name of Superman, by the way. Clark Kent's birth name is Kal-El, the perfect and completed one. So this is the making of Superman or Wonder Woman, however you want to see it, from the house of El, the house of God. Just thought I would throw that out there. And as we have a mem that is on the front, we know that this is the living water teachings of Mother and Father due to the constituent letters that make up the symbol, a mem and a mem sophite. So we first enter into Mother, into her womb matrix, so we can be born again and birthed into the completed waters, out of the chaos of the birthing process, into the completed waters that are set above as part of the Shamayim, so that we can become the entirety of the whole through grasping the power of the languages that bring forth the revelation that pierce you within, so that you can become a teaching shepherd of light who has been given the staff of authority. And the word right before it is heart. So the heart is that inward authority, and that is where our true authority comes from, is it is generated from the heart level. So not at all is what they are presenting it to be. And especially this word, this how they translate it in desperately wicked. Again, I do not agree with this, and I'm going to hack the words to pieces, because when you actually see what this is speaking, you're going to go, whoa, okay. First thing I want to show you, though, before we go in there, is that we have the Vav, which is connecting us to Mother's teaching. This means that we are standing in humility as a teachable one. Very important to have. If you do not have humility, that means you're not teachable, and you will remain in the position of what this word says. And we're going to go ahead and look at it. This is the word anash, meaning to be weak and sick. But let's go down a little further and take a look at this. To be frail, feeble, or melancholy. And I shared this with our last teaching, but if this is new to you, anything on the side, onto the right-hand side of the double dash is what the King James Version translated things at. And then the most common translations will be put right underneath the header. So that doesn't necessarily mean that this is what the word means. It's just what the King James decided to translate it into. So desperately wicked is nothing to do with what this word means. Let's take a look at the word melancholy, however, just as a textbook definition. A feeling of pensive sadness, typically with no obvious cause. I think there's probably quite a few people that are dealing with that right now, as this year of 2020, which is supposed to have been the year of perfect vision, has been a very difficult one, and many people might be experiencing this melancholy status right now. And I do comprehend, but I want to give you good news to know that this was all purpose so that things could be revealed to you, to wake you up so you could see what is going on around us, which means that we are entering into the place of the revealing, which is the word in Greek, apocalypse, which when you say that, in a lot of people, they hear that word and it instantly they think of the end times and scary scenarios and all those terrible things that Hollywood has done such a great job painting for us. But in the truth and reality of it, the word means the revealing. So the book of Revelation is the book of the revealing of those who have the Christ anointing. So If I were you, I would get excited because this is the time for us to turn our melancholy around to something that is pretty exciting indeed. So through that, by connecting to Mother, she helps us recognize that we are feeble and that we are weak and that we are in a melancholy status because there's something that is wanting and needing to be taught to you if you can be teachable and be in that humble position. This word right here that we pronounce as who and looks like it's a simple nothing word has a much, much greater revelation when you take a look at the letters through the same gematria, which is the total per letter. Um, each word has different definitions to it, and we are going to look at the actual spelling of this word to see what it's saying to us. If we take a look at who, we can see that it's just a simple word. King James has translated it in all of these fashions and forms. But I want you to notice something here, of which the feminine, beyond the Pentateuch, is he, a primitive word. Okay, so we are talking about the self, but this is a feminine word that is past and beyond the Pentateuch. For those of you who are not familiar with that word is relating to the first 5 books of the Bible. So Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Deuteronomy, and Numbers, which is also known as the writings of Moshe, of Moses, also synonymously incorporated in the fullness of the Torah, which are the instructions that lead us to the revelation of Father. The reason why it is feminine beyond the Pentateuch is because the first 5 books is mainly dealing with the patriarchal position of the divine masculine. But after we have become that through Mother's teaching, because Mother teaches the divine masculine, which is very linear and very logic oriented. Think of the golden mean ratio when it comes to creation through sacred geometry. But after you have integrated that and you are fully walking in having tamed your beast nature, you've gone through the logical progression of the letters, the Aleph through the Tav, you have become that part of creation, then we move into the feminine. And in just a few days, we will be having the age of Aquarius upon us in which the divine feminine is returning. So this is exciting that we're talking about this right now because this is all about the heart issue. We are entering into the age of love and light. And the divine feminine needs to be raised up to be in equal partnership with the divine masculine. It isn't one lording over another. It is the two of them being equally yoked and coming into that sacred divine wedding where we are fully illuminated. We have activated all our chakras and we're waiting for us for the crowning event where we are completely activated as light beings. This is a very exciting time. A very exciting time. So let's go back to the verse, and I want to show you one more thing. So explain the feminine part of this, but let's look at the letters themselves. The He has to do with the spirit, and so does the Aleph. As a matter of fact, the constituent letters that actually make up the He, so the letter symbols that form the actual letter symbol. So in English, the aleph or the A is just an A. It isn't made up of anything else. The B is just a B, but that's not the way it is in Hebrew or Aramaic. Each symbol has its own spelling. So the symbol He, its constituent letters are He, Aleph. So what does this mean? Well, He is in Paleo means to reveal, and Aleph means the strong leader. It also has the gematria value of 1, and it means oneness or unity. So what are we talking about? We are talking about, well, one more thing. I should talk about the Vav then, because the Vav in Paleo means to connect, a tent peg to be pierced and connected. So this is telling us that there is a revelation that is meant to connect you to the one strong leader in unity, in oneness. But one more thing, It is also represented as breath, as the He is the exhale and the Aleph is the inhale. You want to see something pretty fascinating with this? So this is the breath of life, the inhale and the exhale that are connected to one another. I'll show you why it's related to breath. Let's take a look at this word here. This means to breathe, and it is from Haya. And Haya, the Hey Yod Hey, to fall out, come to pass, be, and become, is the root of Yod Hey Vav Hey. This is also the same word in the phrase I am that I am. It's Ahaya Asher Ahaya. So you have a Hey Yod Hey that has had an Aleph added in front of it, which means to, as one, we are going to come and be and become to pass through the twin revelations, the teaching of Mother and the teaching of Father through their spirit as they exhale this upon us, connected by a common vision for us to become and to be. I don't know about you, but that's some amazing good news there. But let's take a look at this here. Here is this is how it is spelled. Hey, Vav, Aleph, meaning to breathe. Let's take a look at study light here so that I can show you this connection, because I'm just not pulling this out of like a feather in my cap or putting it in and saying, here it is. We fell in our consciousness, which is the original meaning of the fall. Do not be deceived by any other writings in the English or any person telling you that the fall had to do with us eating an apple or eating from the tree of good and evil. The original fall had to do with our consciousness and falling into the three-dimensional realm where we went through the veil of forgetting and we didn't remember who we are. So, but it also is connected to be and to become and exist and to happen. So the fall did happen, but there's a process of becoming that is attached to it, that is connected to this verse. And down here in the bottom, the root of where this came from Paleo Hebrew, is the double Hey, the two twin revelations of Mother and Father. And you can see them actually as a representation figure of a man who is saying, behold, and it's the twin ones that actually are talking about breathing. A representation of one who is looking at a great sight with his hands raised and taking a long breath. That is something amazing to behold. And then it formed into the word Haya, which is the root of Yod He Vav He, and the same root for Ahaya Asher Ahaya, I am that I am. Are you following me yet? So let's go back to the verse. So as a breathing one that is connected to the inhale and the exhale of the Spirit, where we are connected to our heart. Let's talk about this little dot that's in the middle of this. I did talk to you before about the Dagesh, but this one is a little bit different. And if you've noticed, if you watched my previous teaching, there is no doubling of a letter here. So this is what's called the Sharuk. This is really good. It is a Shin Resh Vav Kuf, and the root of this means to be whistled for. So those who are whistled for are going to be revealed as those who have connected, revealed as those who have connected to the one family as strong leaders. And since it's spelled with Shin Resh Vav Kuf, it's those who have gone through the consuming fires that have dealt with their fallen flesh nature because they were given a powerful vision which gave them the means and the direction to then receive the revelation of the family of one and unity so they could connect to their heart by compressing light within the circle of time, finding that middle path, the place between the light and the dark in the circle of time. Last two words, guys. The word who. This comes from a root, memhe, which is the questions of who, what, how, why. So how do we do this? It's through the living waters of teaching, but we must enter into Mother's womb matrix to be born again so that we can be surrounded by the Father's completion. But they are going to give us a vision, a powerful vision, the power of the right hand, which is the direction and the means for us to go through the door of our inner man, where we find that initially we were weak, we were feeble, but that is not so. Because also that means that we find the revelation necessary to deliver ourselves as we begin to drink from the water of a deep well that is within us. And yes, that is all contained in that little symbol yod as a vision given as the power of the right hand. And now we finally wind up with who can know it. So the previous word, we had a vision given by Father, the power of the right hand. And then this one, we have the vision of Mother, also the power of right hand. This word right here is the root word meaning to know and to learn, to perceive, to discriminate and distinguish, to know by experience, to recognize, confess, have knowledge, to be instructed, to cause to know. But this is the same word that is translated that Adam knew Eve. This is pertaining to an intimate knowledge of knowing, not just because somebody told you, but through the experience of knowing this. And how do we know it? How do we know our heart? It is through the spiritual path that we take that elevates our flesh so that we can overcome our beast ego nature, having our flesh changed into something new, where now we are fully connected with the Father, having power, meekness, power under our control, no longer controlled by the beast ego that reacts to fear and is controlled and manipulated by fear, but standing in our true power as having connected to the Father and the ability to connect to others in union into oneness, which is the whole process of the breathing ones that have the inhale and the exhale, the power of the Spirit, the breath of life. So, our hearts are not deceitfully wicked. They may be feeble and melancholy right now, but if you choose to take the spiritual path, you will find exactly what you need as you go inward to your inner man, the deep well that reveals that which is necessary for you to deliver yourself of that beast ego nature that controls and manipulates you by and through fear. And it is you that can know yourself very personally and intimately, and having a heart that is one that is the authoritative power on your inside that is revealed to you first by Mother's teaching. You will be completed, and you will no longer be the one that has to grasp the heel that tries to crush your head, as you will be revealed as those that have conquered and risen their flesh, now having connected as one with the Father. I am Ahyeh Asher Ahyeh. I am one with my Father. I am one with you. I hope this made sense. Never believe that your heart is deceitfully wicked, because if you have connected to your heart, it is a place of that oneness that we have, the place that the source resides, and where we and our spirit and our soul, our little spark of source, combines together so that we can generate a love frequency that will take us into the age of light and love. Thank you so much for listening. I am so glad you're here. Shalom, shalom.